Canton, third 355 million. The Great Migration, Ethereum Liquidity heading to Canton. We shall answer that question and more. Cue my guy Indigo Saint. Let's get it. Boom. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Blackrue Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe I was Blackrue Investing. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifesting, so we binge on our Blackrue Investing. Best believe I was Blackrue Investing. That course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. Just thank God for that Blackrue Investing. Best believe I was Blackrue Investing.
What is up, guys? We're going to take a look at money that may be moving from Ethereum to Canton, and we're going to do that through the lens of Canton and also through Zebec and also through Hyperliquid. Okay, guys, because there are a lot of parallels to kind of garner here from Hyperliquid and what's going on with Hyperliquid to what can happen with Canton. And also, we know that Zebec is partnered with Canton through some videos that I've done and that I've done with the Coin Vault brothers. Shout out to Maximus. Shout out to Crypto Future. And let me go ahead and share my screen, and we shall get into this. So it starts here. You can see the clipping here. This is from June 11th. So not too long ago. Digital asset raises 355 million to accelerate Canton's role as on-chain infrastructure for capital markets. Okay. And Cantor had a really good post on this, where, of course, they say here the round saw participation from investing titans like A16Z, more on that later, Polychain, more on that later, and Coinbase Ventures, more on that later. Okay, so as well as what felt like half of Wall Street. Okay, and then they give us some other news here. Canton beats Aave in Uniswap. According to data on DeFi Llama, which Canton must have got that taken care of or something. Maybe they're listed on DeFi Llama, or maybe they're just grabbing some data from DeFi Llama and Canton's still not listed on there. Either way, Canton has generated about 59 million in fees over the past month, which means it's currently outpacing the likes of Aave, Uniswap, and even Solana. Okay. Canton Coin ETF on the way. And let's remember this as well. Okay. Grayscale filed an S1 with the SEC as early as June to launch an ETF product that will track CC and hold it directly. For context, Grayscale already offers spot ETF products for Ripple's XRP, Chainlink's Link, AVAX, and several others, including Bitcoin and ETH. Okay, which I really think money is going to be flowing from ETH to Canton. I'm going to prove that here today. Also, remember that Grayscale has a near trust. I'm not sure why they didn't choose to have a near ETF, why it was a trust instead of an ETF, but they have it. So let's continue here. Kraken going all in on Canton. Leading SEX, Kraken FX, has announced the first step in broader support for Canton ecosystem by revealing deposits and withdrawals of Circle's USDX stablecoin on Canton. It promises that more assets will follow. Okay, this is something big to note because USDX could not be possible without Canton. Okay, so when they say Circle's USDX on Canton, this reserve USDC would not be possible without Canton. So it's pretty funny that Charles and Yuval have a beef because Charles is using USDX, right? That's the stable coin he's using, which Canton has a piece of. So, but still funny that Yuval and Charles beef. He promises that more assets will follow, and Canton Kraken has big people behind it. Shout out to my guy Shook Focus Digital. Cashin supports SIP 0116. Cashin, okay, the bilateral marketplace for Canton assets. SV and future apps get locks they need. Suppliers earn yield with full custody. Went live with some 400 million CC available to delegate to featured apps that require it in the wake of recently approved SIP 0116, which we're not going to go over today, but let's just note that. Now, let's get into some of the meat of who was involved in this 355 million. We got A16Z, which we're going to talk about them even more later. Seven Ridge, ABN Amaro, the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. Shout out to the Patreon. We know an investment that Abu Dhabi people are very high on, or very, the Abu Dhabi people are very much in. Definitely come over to the Patreon where we talk about, agentic AI cryptos and cryptos that are specifically gems out here. Definitely come over. And, we also have our open mic night and our Symbolism Sunday. Shout out to the Patreon. You help the show move and work. Let's continue here. Alumni Ventures, Apollo Funds, BMP Paribas, Broadridge, Citadel Securities, CME Ventures, Coinbase Ventures. Okay, well, a bunch of other people who we're going to point out here is Polychain, SoFi, SBI Group, and Coinbase Ventures. Okay. So we're going to point them out, but a huge list of people here. We know SBI Group has relations to Ripple. So again, I know they have the Ripple versus Canton beef, but it always seems like there are more connections to Ripple and Canton than there actually is beef. But anyways, so if we go over here, we noted Polychain, right? If we look at Tim Draper's son's VC firm, Boost VC, we see in their portfolio is Polychain Capital. So indirectly, at least Tim Draper is involved because this is his son's VP, this is his son's VC firm. If we go to home, I can show you that. Go down here and we see Adam Draper here. Okay. He says 4th generation VC. And that's for real, right? You guys know, if you've watched my Swift blockchain coverage, I've done some. Sorry about that. I thought I silenced that. I done some coverage on Tim Draper and his family. When I say old money, it is old money. Like, he is for real a 4th generation VC. The Draper family basically funded Silicon Valley. There was nothing there before their family. So when I say like old money and like connections, their family has connections, right? So when I see their family involved in anything, I really perks my nose up, right? It really gets my ear to the ground and says like, okay, this might be important, right? So let's continue on here. Now, Zenith, right? Zenith is the EMV and SVM execution layer for Canton Network, advancing real-world capital markets initiatives on chain. And they say here, Ethereum applications on Canton. So with the Zenith, that directly says to me they're going to plan on moving money to Canton because they're with Zenith, you'll be able to put Ethereum applications directly on Canton. So I definitely believe a lot of that Canton or a lot of that Ethereum money is going to flow to Canton. And some of these investors here as well in that 355 million. I believe a lot of these investors too are Ethereum investors. So again, I think we see a lot of money flow from Ethereum to Canton, but let's continue here. So note Zenith, right? Canton's institutional infrastructure is now accessible to Solidity developers through Zenith FDN, Ethereum tooling, wallets, and configurations natively on Canton network. Okay, so as early as whenever Zenith came out, they're already trying to make it so Ethereum apps can just directly use Canton. Okay, so a lot of that Ethereum money we are going to see flow directly into Canton. But I think we also have a race here, a race for private perps. And the team in the lead right now with private perps are Near and Hyperliquid. Okay. So if we go over to Near, you guys know in the Patreon, shout out to the Patreon, we were on Near at $1.17 in the Patreon. You guys got it over here later in the regular show, but we've been on Near for quite a while, and the Near just keeps rising. It's at like $2.30 something cents now, right? And I expect it to continue to rise. But guess what? They seem to have kind of latched themselves to Hyperliquid, which makes a lot of sense because of their near intense and their near confidential platform. They can do things confidentially, and they can hook up agentic AI to things. So Near's something to watch. But I think there's this race for what are private perps. So the decommitted liquidity in crypto from the account you already use, no new chain, no new app, perps on Near. Okay. So Hyperliquid has brought perps to Near, and what this can enable is confidential perps. Now, just the absurdity and craziness of confidential perps, like conceivably, right? If it's something like a basketball game and you could do a confidential perp, like you could be the player and have a better confidential perp and no one knows, right? But again, so when it comes to Near and when it comes to Hyperliquid, I know Hyperliquid has US oil perps. So Donald Trump could know he's about to make bad news on Iran, put in a confidential perp conceivably on Near that he's about to make bad news on Iran, put in that confidential perp to short, or actually if it was bad news, oil would go up. So he would long oil, because as soon as people hear the bad news about a peace signing, oil's probably going to go up, right? So confidential perps seem to be like craziness to me, but this is what's going to happen here. So here's another one, June 15th. You can now trade perps directly on Near, 50 markets, up to 40x leverage, funded easily with any asset from 35 chains, powered by Hyperliquid. And on here somewhere, they used to say confidential perps coming soon. Go long, go short, hedge what you already hold, set your guardrails, all from one account. And then we have cross-chain rails to Hyperliquid just got better. Build on Near Intense. Hypercore is now live on Near Intense. Near Intense integrators can now enable Hypercore for USDC deposits from any chain to Hyperliquid on their interfaces. Okay, so very interesting there, right? And I thoroughly believe the Canton is going to have a response to this, or have their version of this. We definitely talked about that in the Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon. Definitely check out the recording of this latest open mic night. But let's continue here. Now, Hyperliquid, you guys might not know, Hyperliquid had an ETF from Bitwise launch, right? If we go look at that ETF, it started at $26. It's around 40 right now, which means it's tracking pretty closely to the price of Hyperliquid. Since May 11th, Hyperliquid has gone up around 2x, right? Is that a coincidence, or does it go right inside with that ETF, right? So what do we think is going to happen when Canton gets its ETF? What do we think is going to happen when NEAR gets more ETFs, right? Well, guess what we have there? We have Bitwise, where they promised to, well, we already saw the Hyperliquid one. They promised to make a Aave, Uni, Tau, Sui, NEAR, Stark, Tron, Zcash, and the Hyperliquid and Canton ETFs. Okay, so this is almost like a cheat sheet of things that might be valuable in the future. Maybe we see something similar with Canton once these ETFs get launched. Okay, once its ETF gets launched. So very, 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 very anticipating that, right? But again, to make another Draper reference, a company called Alpin that's on Canton, powered by Canton, backed by Draper Associates. Alpin also, believe it or not, Boost VC is also a backer of Alpin. So Draper's doubly invested in Alpin, right, through Draper Associates and the Boost VC brand. And I showed you there how Boost VC owns a piece of Polychain Capital, so he's invested in Canton as well through the 355 million raise, and there are other connections there because he owns a piece of Coinbase Ventures of Coinbase, so he's also invested in Canton there as well. So seems like the Draper family is pretty heavy in Canton. And the Canton ecosystem might be something that we want to pay attention to. And just to let you know as well, A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz's firm, Draper and Andreessen Horowitz are boys, they're buddies. Adam Draper interviewed both on his podcast, on his Boost VC podcast 4 years ago, right? So these dudes are boys. Both Andreessen Horowitz and Tim Draper, I think people understand that with Andreessen Horowitz, that he's one of the biggest kind of investors in the cryptocurrency area. But I don't think people are aware that Draper and his family are huge investors in the cryptocurrency space, like really huge investors in the cryptocurrency space. So this might be something to watch here coming up here in the next few months here. But yeah, get your bags packed. Get your bags packed. Let's see here. Let's check out the comments. D Curry, my boy Rue. Hey, good people. That one guy. Shout out to Big Rue, the most eligible bachelor in the desert. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. right behind my brother, my cohort, Maximus Crypto. We're two of the most eligible bachelors out here in the desert. What up, Rue? Good to see you, brother. What's up, Dave F. Jr.? Hey, just finished watching my wife wrestling on NXT. Wait, what? Just finished watching my wife wrestling on NXT. Who you talking about, Phantom B? Which one's your wife out there? Back to crypto time. Let's go. Jetpack, what it do, Rue? What's up, King Asher? What up, though, Rue? What up, fam? DCA, yes, indeed. So this is kind of a continuation too of my last episode where we did the live with the Coin Vault, and we also had Longview on, where we said, you know, Tim Draper is investing in the Canton ecosystem. Gotta love what Tim Draper is doing with that. And hey, we got to follow that money, right? So shout out to the Coin Vault crew. Definitely go check us out over on Coin Vault. We did one that's kind of like a Symbolism Sunday, and people really liked it, right? Where we did XRP 589, ZBCN 515. I dropped some gems on that. And if you really like stuff like this, talk like this, symbolism talk like this, we do this every Sunday on Symbolism Sunday. Okay. So definitely come check us out over there on the Coin Vault. Okay. And don't seem like we have any questions today. I guess people do not like the Canton only videos. I'll definitely hit you with a Zebec one next show. There was some really good news coming from Zebec where we'll just cover a little bit at the end of it here, but we'll do a whole show on it later. Let me bring it up here, in which Zebec says they're live now with Stellar. Huge news for Zebec here. So yeah, we got a couple things from Zebec, but here we go. Enterprise payroll goes live on Stellar Network. Okay, we're gonna break this down on a future show, probably tomorrow. So definitely tune in as we come and break that down tomorrow. But excellent show, guys. I see there are no more questions, but we out of here. Quick show today. Definitely appreciate you guys. We're out. Peace. And if you made it to the end, please put Canton into the comments. It'll help spread the video around. Peace.